Peace to the gods and the goddesses of the nation, of the land, and of all creation. Hope everybody doing well. Hope you blessed in a positive mood at this current state that we are in. Now, family, I must admit, I've been watching all of these scholars and everybody talking about 5G is the reason for the coronavirus. Family, that is some straight up and down bullshit. It's not the case. It's not the case. Do you really think? Listen, if you look at my current videos that I have up on my page, you will see that I already broke down why the coronavirus is even in America as of today. I told you, the coronavirus was never meant for America. The coronavirus was meant for China, for population control. The United Nations and the United States have been funding, they covertly discussed this. If you look at my earlier videos about the coronavirus, you will see that I already put up what the goal was. And that was to lower the elderly population in China, family. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? In China. But because of the European Union and select other nations who didn't close their door to China, in order for that implementation to be able to go on in just China, you now have a pandemic that's all around the globe. China has been funded over $100 million to control population growth because there's too many elderly people that's in China and they not leaving enough environmental growth for the youth. That's why the coronavirus is even there. And people think that the coronavirus is just from touching something or touching someone who has it. No, the coronavirus within itself, as it was put into China, was airborne. Don't you see that it doesn't affect the youth, but it affects the elderly and those who are weak? It was to rule out the weak and carry on the strong. It was a social economic agenda that was put in place by the United Nations in order to get a point across. They want the world to be 500 million. I've explained this to people, and people still coming at me talking about some 5G towers being the cause of the coronavirus. That's not the case. Peep this little slide right here. In a joint study by the University of Nebraska Medical Center, the National Strategic Research Institute at the University of Nebraska and others researchers found genetic material from the virus that causes COVID-19 in air samples from both in and outside of confirmed coronavirus patients' rooms. That means it is airborne, family. It is airborne. The findings offer limited evidence that some potential for airborne transmission exists, researcher says, though they warn that the findings do not confirm of airborne spread. But you and I both know, if you can find something in the air around the patient's room and outside of the patient's room, what is that telling you? It's an airborne virus. That's why you got the social distancing. But because of the social distancing isn't even enough. You get what I'm saying to you, family? Next slide. Researchers looking better to understand the viral shedding and how it related to the novel virus took air and surface samples from 11 patients' room during the initial isolation of 13 people who tested positive for COVID-19. The researchers found virus genetic material on commonly used items such as toilets, but also in what? Air samples, thus indicating that SARS-CoV-2 is widely disseminated in the environment. SARS-CoV-2 is the name of the virus that causes what? COVID-19, family. Next slide. Not only was the virus detected within COVID-19 patient rooms, Air samplers from hallways, outside of rooms where the staff was moving in and out of doors was also positive, they wrote. That means this shit is everywhere on that entire floor, family. So when you listening to these people telling you that this shit is from a 5G tower, no, they are wrong. Do not listen to that. Do 5G towers cause health problems? Will 5G towers cause health problems? Yes, there will. But it will not be a sickness called COVID-19. The type of problems that a 5G tower will impact you with is during tumors inside of your brain and inside of your blood cells if you are female. And trust and believe, I will present a slide to you to let you know this, because the real problem is that people sitting up here just talking about the 5G when you wasn't talking about 4G, when you wasn't talking about 3G. It's been plenty G's of 900 plus hertz that's been moving throughout our atmosphere, even from the times of the 40s when the microwave was created. Those are radio frequency radiation that is moving through the air. And what does it cause? I got the slide right here for you, family. The NTP studies found that high exposure to radio frequency radiation, 900 megahertz, used by cell phones was associated with, this is the problem with 5G, clear evidence of tumors in the hearts of male rats. The tumors were malignant schwannomas. I believe that's the name. Excuse me if I'm butchering. Some evidence of tumor in the brain of male rats. The tumors was malignant, gliomas. Some evidence of tumors in the adrenaline glands of male rats. And I'm not going to sit up here and keep butchering names to you, but I want you to understand the problem with the 5G is, when it comes to health problems, is that it causes tumors inside of you. And don't think just because these are male rats, these are just things that is being tested on. Trust and believe, it will have the same effect on a human being, family. Now, if you really want to get to the threshold of the reason why 5G towers are even really being put into place, I have some evidence right here for you. You take it, use it, run with it, do whatever you want with it, but acknowledge that this is information and it's true information, so you don't have to run back and feel that you have to listen to a person who's telling you something just to get likes and views. You get what I'm saying? The 5G towers was not put here to impact your health. That's just a side effect with shit that goes on with the simple fact. The real reason that 5G was put on this earth and 4G was put on this earth was for this right here. As a follow-up, NTP published an article in October 29 that evaluated DNA damage in 3 regions of the what? Brain, the liver, and the blood cells in rat and mice that was removed from an earlier time point from the ongoing 2-year toxicology study. DNA damage, if not repaired, can potentially, this is a slide that's still talking about the tumors, can lead to tumors. This work is also included in NTP's published technical supports, but this study includes analysis of the data and supporting information not included in technical supports. But I want you to see, what was the first thing that it fucks with? Your brain, family. NTP scientists found that radio frequency radiation exposure was associated with an increase in DNA damage. Specifically, listen to me, they found that radio frequency radiation, which is from your cell phone, which is from your microwave, which is from your tanning bed, exposure was linked with the significant increases in DNA damage in what? The frontal cortex of the brain in male mice, the blood cell of female mice, and the hippocampus of male rats. Many authors have indicated an integral link between a person's will to live, personality, and the functions of the what? Prefrontal cortex. This is your brain, family. This brain region has been implicated in what? Planning complex, cognitive behavior, personality expression, decision making, moderating social behavior, and moderating certain aspects of speech and language. The basic activity of the brain region is considered to be the orchestration of thoughts and actions in accordance with internal goals. 5G networks are here to what, family? Impact your brain. It's why you have so many people going on mass attacks running in schools, because the radio frequencies within the air is causing them not to be able to think and coherently, and not to be able to control themselves when they have an impulse to do something. So while all of these people are running around telling you that 5G network towers being put up is for just your health and will impact you with COVID-19, they are lying. They are misinterpreting the real causes and effects of a 5G, a radio frequency radiation wave that will be in the air. It is for your mind, family. Executive functions, collectively referred to as executive function. Remember, prefrontal cortex, family. Remember that it's just the thinking part of your brain. Cognitive control are set of cognitive processes that are necessary for the cognitive control of behavior, selecting and successfully monitoring behaviors that facilitate the attainment of chosen goals. Executive functions includes basic cognitive processes such as attentional control, cognitive inhibitory control, working memory, and cognitive flexibility. Do you understand what I'm saying to you, family? Pardon me, family. Executive functions include basic cognitive processes such as attentional control, cognitive inhibition, inhibitory control, working memory, and cognitive flexibility. Higher order executive functions require the simultaneous use of multiple basic executive functions and include planning and fluid intelligence, reasoning, and problem solving. If you want to say anything about this radio frequency, you must have to start with the brain. They are putting this here for see, what I'm trying to get you to understand is COVID-19 wasn't meant for America. COVID-19 wasn't meant for these other nations. They already had the plan in effect for their certain countries. You have to understand the United Nations has mapped out the entire globe, the 7 continents. Remember, you got to think about it. What I told you, you have the elite that is using the Bible as the same as they're using the Bible in the same order, in the fashion of how it was presented to us, in order for us to believe in the Bible, so they could stage a blue beam effect with the second coming of the Christ for the Christians, for the first coming of the Messiah for the Jews, for Sonata and all of the other gods from the Pleiades star systems for the New Agers, and Lucifer, the light bearer, for the devil worshippers. Everybody is in this together. They are planning to fool all of you. And they're going to use every bit. So by these towers coming here, all they're doing is furthering the agenda that they had specifically for themselves. This wasn't for China. This wasn't for another country. This was the 5G towers was created specifically for America. Why? Because it was fuel to create violence. And what brings in violence? That's why you see all of the military already. Think about it. Why is all of these military bringing in tanks for COVID virus? Why? They're doing that in order to implement martial law, in order to control you, because they know that these 5G towers is about to have more people going on mass shootings. Now, watch in the future how many more mass shootings is going to be in schools, at concerts, because what did I tell you in my earlier videos from this month into last month and the month before that? In order to implement martial law, you have to scare the community. If you scare the community, they don't want to come outside. If they don't come outside, what does that do? It hurts the economy. If the economy cannot grow, that means a law must be put into place so the economy to be able to grow. In order for that to come across, they have to implement martial law, which creates America into a police state where you have army guards walking around in your neighborhood, and then the people feel safe. Because if you got the army behind you, like I said, if you got the army behind you, you're willing to go after anybody. And if you have the army behind you and you guarantee protection, you are willing to abide by the rules that that army has set for you for protection out of fear. So when you look at the 5G towers, no, family, this is not for your health, even though it has health effects. This is for your mind. The radio frequency radiation that pumps into the air from the cell phone towers hurts your frontal cortex, that creates problems for you to make sound decisions. So decisions that you do are impacted at, you may act on them without thinking of the consequences that happen. That's why you got a lot of these people go shoot up and then be like, yo, I don't know why I did it. Because they was under the G effect. You get what I'm saying? They was already under the effect with the 4G, with the 5G. Now the 5G is going to be even more stronger, because to think about it, the 4G and the 3G only went to 9,000 megahertz. You got the 5G that's about to pump out millions. You get what I'm saying? So imagine the effect that that's going to have on the masses, and whose minds are strong enough to be able to differentiate what's right and what's wrong and what not to do. So when you hear these people talking about this is for your health, no, family, this is for your mind. Until then, man, stay blessed. Peace to the gods and the goddesses of the nation, of the land, and of all creation. Everybody do well and stay blessed, and shield your mind, family. Peace.